are doing the same things with their lives, who, dropping their bags, have a story. Everybody has a story, and if you know someone who has a compelling story, or if you have a compelling story, give us a call or email us at Eileen, EILEEN, at tglradioshow.com. Eileen at tglradioshow.com. Woo! That was a mouthful. That was 2 minutes of talking. We are here on Gumbo Talk Thursday. I'm really excited because we have Pierre Roberts in the studio. He doesn't know, but I think I'm going to reel him in to be a regular guest. I'm working on the days for that. Pierre, I kind of like Thursday, so
just let me know.
We don't work that out. I love having conversation with conscious people, and he is just that. He's a businessman. You know what, Pierre? Before we get into the conversation, which is changing the narrative, we've been having that topic all week. But before we get into the conversation, give the audience a little bit about yourself so they can get to know you. It's radio. They know all my business, so they might as well get to know a little bit of yours so they can understand. Because he will be a regular right here on the show, and he is with Impact. And so, tell us how you have been so impactful.
Sure. With Impact, we're just trying to make the community better. So we support any organization or anything in the city that's about bringing positivity back to New Orleans or the surrounding areas. Had to say big shout out to Camellia City Smooth Jazz Fest next weekend. Please make sure you go.
Yes.
Jen Jeans Productions. Please follow them Instagram, Facebook, the whole nine. But just anything that's positive for the city that's going to help either youth, entrepreneurship, or with re-entry, are the kind of things that we focus on helping with.
Yes. And if somebody needs you, what does Impact do specifically? That if somebody out there needed your services, because they may need to change the let's try to get us both in the camera. Because make sure you if you're interested, you can watch us live on Instagram and Facebook. We're live right now. I'm going to see how this YouTube works, but we will be up and running by Monday. Somebody borrowed my computer, so I didn't have the computer. Anyway, we getting webcams and we going next level. I'm just saying, y'all need to stay tuned to The Good Life. We are taking this worldwide. Play with me if you want to. Y'all be like, she said it right there on WBOK. Yes, I did. You'd be like, I knew her. She started right here with us. And I had the chance to call in. I didn't call in enough. See? This is your time. This is your time. And speaking of time, this is someone else's time. There's someone out there listening who needs your services. Tell us what you provide and how they can contact you.
Sure. We're a resource network, as well as we help design marketing plans. So if you're looking to save money on your operations costs and redirect some of that savings, into additional marketing to help grow your business, that's what we specialize in. They can reach us on all social media at EMPAQGRP that's all our social media, or EMPAQGRP at Gmail is email, or phone number 504-323-7981. That's 504-323-7981.
And I'm just let you know that Impact has teamed up with The Good Life, so we're really excited. We have so many things in the works. I just can't tell y'all yet, but they're going to be popping. I'm one of those, I can't hold water. No. So I'm going to change the narrative, and I'm going to hold water, and we're just going to change the conversation and hop into it. And this is one of those days where I don't want to say I didn't prepare for the show, because I did. I've been kind of preparing for it all week, but I didn't have a specific, these are the bullets I'm going to talk about. Y'all see me on my iPad if y'all are watching, live. But I usually have bullets that I follow. But, and some of those shows are the best shows when I don't just I want to change the narrative, and we're here on Gumbo Talk Thursday, so I really want to get into it with regard to, we're going to have a segment about how do we change the narrative about ourselves, how do we change the narrative about our friends, and how do we change the narrative about our family. And I'm going to throw it on you, because I don't know where I want to start first, because I kind of was thinking, do I want to start with you first, yourself, or do I want to end with you? Because
maybe both.
I think...
Maybe start with
maybe both. You know what? That's why I keep him around. That's Impact. He's impacting the conversation right now. But when we need to, when we want to change the narrative, the crazy part. I've been thinking about this all week, and it kind of just fell into my spirit this morning. We need to change ourselves. That's really what it comes down to. We need to change ourselves, and we break down the show in different aspects, Motivation Monday, Relationship Tuesday, Wellness Wednesday, and we get to go on a journey with one topic to hopefully that you feel like you're hitting on all angles. And so, after finishing Wellness Wednesday yesterday and talking to Bashan, and I was like, I want to do something different. And, I get into this mindset, and I watched this video on fasting this morning. I watched this video on fasting and, connecting to your spiritual self through that process. And he gave a great example of how we are disconnected due to the drudge and the nastiness and the muck. And so he really kind of explained it with regards to a pipe. He said, imagine you have this pipe connecting you to your higher self, God, your source, Gaia, whatever you want to call it. I call it, he's God to me. And so you have this pipe connecting you. And with food, and processed food and all this other stuff that we eat, we basically, are stopping this flow. Mm-hmm. And, in biblical terms and not just biblical, everywhere else, fasting is good for the body. Even, I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. When, animals are sick, what do? They don't eat. They stop eating. They do. They stop eating so that their bodies can heal. Well, why did we never pick up on that? And I mean, sometimes we're forced to not eat because our body will reject it. But we need to have that same mindset. So sometimes if you want to change the narrative, you maybe just need to clean out your system, kind of mind, body, and soul. And so I really wanted to touch on that conversation, before we hopped into all of the conversation. But because I'm like, once you can cleanse that out and change the narrative, you can really look at it through such a different lens and such a different perspective. And so, I'm really excited because I'm like, when I think of these things, I'm like, yes, I'm going to go do it. So what your thoughts on that, Pierre?
I think it definitely works, and I think everything starts with you. One of the best books I've read that I know changed my life when I went through a transformation was Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. And it talked about being in the moment. And, a quote I always use is, yesterday died last night. Too much we get hung up on thoughts of the past or thoughts of the future versus living in the moment right now. Mm-hmm. And that disconnect from the moment can have an impact on how a person acts. Like the best quote I read in it was, no one can ever get you upset. You only get upset because you don't want to accept their actions. And then it may be, they never apologized. But realistically, is you agreed to stay mad until they apologized. So did those 2 words, I'm sorry, make it that much better? Or was it that was predetermined in your mind that I'm going to be angry until this point?
That was an expectation that you had, and until they reached your expectation, you were not going to feel better.
Right.
And I put that in quotation marks. You weren't going to feel better until they reached your expectation. But that's in so many different aspects. I can't even get it because I'm like really excited right now. That's in so many different aspects of your life. It could be an apology. It could be your child becoming what you weren't. You could have wanted to be the best basketball player, the best football player, and you make them put in hours of work. You take them to all of these training camps. They travel in every state in the continental United States. Seriously.
Yeah.
And one day they just don't feel like it anymore.
Well, another quote, I'm big on quotes. One of the best ones I heard was, parents love their children enough, they'll do anything for them except allow them to be themselves.
Be themselves, yes. Yes, I remember the day I broke my mother's heart. Well, maybe just one of the days I broke my mother's heart. I didn't want to play piano anymore. And she had, she loved the piano. She had a piano, I was like, do y'all remember Moses Hogan? Moses Hogan was my piano teacher. He was a very, I had, and I just did not, I hated the piano. I absolutely hated the piano. And I had, when I went to practice, I told Moses, I was like, I hate it. I just don't want to do it anymore. I don't know how to tell my parents. And he was like, we'll tell them together. And that was like the most liberating moment because, I was doing it. At first you think it's fun. You want to do it. And then I was like, I don't want to do it. And then, you were doing it for someone else. And so, my parents understood and they were loving. So I was blessed to have that situation. But, every situation isn't that easy. Mm-hmm. It doesn't always come that easy. And we do need to open our mind to living differently in the world so we can have those conversations and we can, whether it be a spiritual redirection of the pipeline, whether it be a relationship with a friend, with a family member, or with yourself. And we're going to have each one of those conversations, with yourself, your family, and your friends, cleaning that connection so that you can live the good life and have a different conversation, a different reality, a different life. I mean, because it's that it's the non-communication that is really breaking down the world, in my opinion, because we are here for connection. Oh yes.
Yeah, communication is key to success, to anything. It's proper communication. Also, part of it is knowing what we can control. What's that old thing I learned in church, New Hope Baptist Church? John C. Radford, my pastor.
Really?
Was you can God grant me the power to change the things I can, the serenity to accept the things I can't, and most importantly, the wisdom to know the difference. A lot of time we can concern ourselves with things that are outside of our control or outside of our sphere of influence.
Hello.
Once you let go of that, wanting to have control over that aspect and only focus on what you can control, and you start making more pointed and determined actions for yourself, the things you're looking for in your life usually start coming into place. Because the universe exists, and there's a law of abundance. One of my other favorite books is The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, Deepak Chopra, only about 50 pages. But it talks about the law of abundance and also reaping and sowing. Because a lot of times we aren't appreciative for what we have, so then we'll have less to appreciate. But when you appreciate everything you have, by nature, by the law of the universe will bring more to you that you can appreciate because you get more of what you put out. You don't get the opposite of what you put out. So the more you put out uncomfortable, the more situations are going to pop up to make you uncomfortable. But the more you're happy with what you currently have and are appreciative of what you currently have, then you'll end up having more to appreciate.
So are you saying that gratitude is the basis?
Absolutely. Like I've read a few examples of some things that were done where positive mental attitude. Like I've heard people say, I want to lose weight, but they'll talk about how they their dislike for their body. That'll make it harder. So
like that donut you came in here with this morning?
Hey,
I'm just saying. You did. You came in here with donuts.
It was one of the mornings. I've seen people where you have one that starts working out, one that doesn't. One just keeps telling themselves positive images in the mirror, and the other one has that negative view of themselves. And the one that told themselves positive things got to where they wanted first without ever hitting the gym because it's mind over matter.
I love my body. I love my body. I love my body.
And that
it is mind over. And actually, we had a little bit of this conversation yesterday about, when you do want to change the narrative, especially with working out, it really is your mind. I mean, and I know this, and we have this conversation all the time, but sometimes you need to be reminded, like, no, it really is. If you change your mind, you can change your life.
Yeah, thoughts or prayers.
Literally. We're going to jump into more of that conversation. Leah's giving me the break sign. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to get into that gratitude and that control and those relationships between yourself, your friends, and your family when we get right back. It's a good life, y'all. We are here with Pierre Roberts with the Impact Group. I am Eileen Carter. This is the Good Life Gumbo Talk Thursday, and we'll be right back.
On the Apple Store, huh?
Who's that?
It's like the little thing, but it's not in the Apple Store. I can't find it nowhere.
Come on, roll with RCA. You back for more information, and now there's more info.
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I have it. If you've had it before, you still have it. I don't know. We are talking about changing the narrative today, y'all. I love having conversations with Pierre. I mean, I'm going to be very honest. Once you were kind of, my hands up. When you're having conscious conversation, there aren't always a lot of people to have that conversation with. So I really, real talk, it's real talk. And so, it's nice to be able to, share thoughts with people who are like-minded. And I want to get into that as well with changing the narrative because who you are surrounding yourself with, and we'll talk about that when we get into friends, literally can change your life. No, like literally can change your life.
Yeah, like the guy from Christopher Gardner, the guy Will Smith played in Pursuit of Happiness. I have one of his interviews, The Real Guy, and he said you'll be successful as the 5 people you talk to the most.
I don't know about y'all, but I am reevaluating people I talk to. Real talk. And look, I'm doing it right now. Okay, you laughing, but you don't. So serious.
I'm serious too.
Generally, it's crazy because it's like the people that you think, and I think for me, like, oh shoot, I had them on. Sorry, I had y'all listening to commercials. You think that certain people are going to be in your life for indeterminate amount of time, and that they are just, oh, this is my friend. And I've had friendships where, I really thought somebody was my friend and that they were going to be there. I'm like, oh, and then like 5 years and then was gone. And it's okay because a reason, a season, a lifetime.
Yes, ma'am.
But also you're like, season. And I had to chalk it up to season. Was it sad? Yes. Because, everybody, my mom used to always tell me, if you get amount of friends if you can fill up your hand with friends, then you've had a good life. Like if you've had, I don't want to say just a good life, but like you're doing better than most people out there. Like if you really can name, like I have 5 friends, and she's like, most people can't even use the fingers and just end up with a thumb. And, sometimes not even that, so it really just depends, and I know that we are here for different purposes and different times, but when you are going a spiritual journey, you do have lonely spots in life. And, spiritually, like when I say when you're cleaning out the drudge, that's one of those times. And it's accepting that time and not trying to reach out to other things, because reach out to your source, Yeah. So.
Oh, yeah, I'm big on that one. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. I'm plagiarizing. Picasso said good artists copy, great artists steal. You know what I mean? So I just borrow the ones that's good.
There you go.
But it's the truth. Once you know yourself, you know what you'll accept, what you won't accept. But I found the more I learned myself, the easier everything became.
Well, how'd you do that?
Ooh, a lot of soul
How
searching,
did you do
a
that?
lot of late night poetry writing, getting rid of the TV.
Can you hear the TV?
Yeah, I don't watch TV.
I did that for a long time. I have one back in my room now with a Fire Stick, but I don't have like cable. Well, technically I do have.
You got the Fire Stick. You got everything.
I know. Well, technically I do have digital TV. Y'all, this is a dumb story, but it's so true, and it's just thoroughly entertaining to myself. There was a storm. I have digital, and I have a little box, and I have the little box on it, and so. The storm put out the box, and I just don't have my remote control connected to it.
I use Fire Stick.
So that's why I don't use it. That's terrible.
I used to use the Fire Stick.
Terrible reason.
I started doing that when I was still working for Cox. I was still working for Cox, getting free cable, but I read the Fire Stick.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome back to The Good Life with me, Eileen. We are here on Gumbo Talk Thursday, and we're here to open your mind.
That's the jam.
We are living the good life right here on WBOK 1230 AM. We are opening minds to living differently in the world with love, compassion, tolerance, and understanding for ourselves and everyone else. We do that right here weekdays at 11 a.m. Make sure you tune in. We are live on Instagram. We are live on Facebook. And we will be live as of next week on YouTube. I am so excited. So please, I encourage each and every one of you to go subscribe to our channel. I'm asking really nicely.
Yeah.
Please, thank you.
You gotta say the channel though.
Oh, TGL Radio Show. It's the same thing as ever. And you know what's funny? Because last night I was updating my YouTube, and I realized I did not brand correctly on YouTube. Everywhere else it was TGL Radio Show, and on YouTube it was the Good Life Radio Show. And I was like, that's dumb. So so I changed the name last night. So it is TGL Radio Show everywhere you go. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TGL Radio Show. And you literally do not need to put a space in there. I tried to make it really easy for it. You don't need to put a space. You don't. It's really easy. So Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter is at TGL Radio Show because you didn't need a space there. So I figured out when I put the YouTube, why put a space if there's not a space anywhere else.
You got a bunch of shows on there.
Yeah, I have lots of shows on there. You have like over 100, and the first maybe 15 or 20 have the full show visually where you can see it. I'm going to be uploading more visual ones, but they have shows all the way back for a year. So there's, I mean, if you ever wanted to like really get in tune with the good life, that is your place to go. It's not like you thought I was only going to have like 2 shows there. No. There is, and then there's gonna have the new YouTube TV, so you can sit there and watch me on your TV. Y'all, it's just a bunch of.
Yeah, you got a Fire Stick. You got a YouTube app and a Fire Stick. I'm just saying.
If you were watching us during the break, you would know where the Fire Stick conversation came from. So make sure you follow us on YouTube. Actually, I found out YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, right under Google. Yeah, so I figured we should be on YouTube where everybody else is, right? Sure. So thanks so much for all that you do, but please go and subscribe to our channel. I appreciate each and every one of you. And if you want to join the Good Life Radio Show, if you want to hear your commercials during a commercial break, if you have, you know, a business, an idea, if you have a story, especially if you have a compelling story of how you've gotten to where you are, we would love to hear it. Give us a call at 504-400-7127. Email me, Eileen, EILEEN, at TGL Radio Show. See where this is going. Or you can find all of our rates and packages online at tglradioshow.com. See that? Nice. It's all what it is. This conversation this week is about changing the narrative. I am here with Pierre Roberts of the Impact Group. We have Terry on the line. Good morning, Terry. How are you? Oh, I'm so glad. Yes, I had it. Oh yeah, it was Pierre saw me the Monday before last. It was not looking good up here in the studio. I was like, do I have to take a picture? Yes, it was going around, so everyone's suffering from it. Ooh, you need allergy. Do not, like, I was taking Alka-Seltzer and everything else. It was not working. I needed allergy medicine. Nope. You needed your allergy medicine.
Hot toddy.
Yes, so we're glad you are feeling better. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better. Pierre is up here drinking his coffee, and I'm up here drinking. Well, you know what? I'm gonna shout out to Red Bull. They should be a sponsor. Anybody listening from Red Bull, y'all should be a sponsor. We got wings because they came by the studio the other day and dropped off these new little kiwi apple, the green edition, and I'm sipping on it. And I like it. So shout out to Red Bull. Y'all should sponsor me. I'll drink it during my show, or actually, I'm doing it now. They give you a kick, and you know, I'm gonna need it through the show. So we have been discussing changing the narrative, you know, changing your frame of mind so you can change your life, getting the drudge out of your system. I was talking about how sometimes it takes, you know, fasting. Sometimes it takes, you know, getting rid of the people in your life. And specifically, we kind of hit that during the break, so that's why y'all have to follow us during the break. And Pierre and I were talking about that, how it's the people you surround yourself with, the people you surround yourself. If you want to change the narrative of your life, you really need to start thinking about the people you surround yourself with. And it's not always the most, it's just not easy. It's not easy because it's people that you've been friends with for a long time, and you really need to take a step out of your reality. And you're like, how are these people affecting my life? You know, I may absolutely love and adore them, but my time spent with them is not a positive experience. It really isn't. I mean, in half the time you don't even realize it. What? Yes. I call them energy vampires. I do. I call them energy vampires. And I have to check myself because I've been around some energy vampires recently, and I didn't even realize that they were energy vampires. Like, I wasn't being as productive as I know I need to be. I know Pierre is helping me change that. The impact group, just FYI. But changing who you are around and changing who you talk to every day can literally change your life. And I'm not speaking out of, a hypothetical. I'm speaking of real life experience like me. It is changing my life. I'm just more productive. I'm more effective. My work life is just, it's just flowing so much more smoothly. And I just, even with health and wellness, like, okay, I'm going to go do this. I want to do more things because the encouragement of the people around me is even different. And it's not even direct conversation all the time.
Right.
It's just having, like we were talking about, like-minded people. And I don't mean like-minded as they're a yes or a yes man. I mean like-minded as in just open, aware, conscious, enlightened on different levels. Like, they are vibrating on a higher level. And like, stop stealing my joy. You're laughing, but I'm serious, Pierre.
That's true.
You're draining me.
Well, I mean, it's and sometimes my parents, I was blessed. They taught me, in life, there's no such thing as a loss. You either win or you learn. And they said, it may be perceived as a loss, but then once you learn that lesson, it becomes a win.
Yes.
And the universe has a way of, if something is meant to teach us a lesson and we don't learn it that first time, then it comes back just a little bit stronger.
Yes.
And a little bit stronger until we get it. But if we take
I'm learning a lot of lessons right now.
But once
we all are, right?
We all are. I mean, that's the beauty of life, and everything is about learning and growing. And you do have sometimes those that are, as we call them, energy vampires. But it's recognizing those, and then also realizing what is it at this particular moment? Is it meant for me, this person, to be here doing this? What am I meant to learn from it? And then once you're able to figure out what that is, and there, in my opinion, just specifically to bring insight to something that we may not be aware of just yet.
And I want to piggyback on what you said, because there, even with myself, it's not necessarily those people's fault.
Of course.
Y'all hear me out there? It's not their fault. It's my responsibility to take responsibility for myself and my surroundings. If I know that, I'm just going to use the worst, I don't want to say the worst, but a bad example. If I know, y'all know I'm from New Orleans, so I say this. I go to the ballroom every day after work. That's my fault. And I hang out with people who, and it's not that the people are bad people. It's just they may have had a bad day. Everybody meets up at the ballroom and everybody is complaining about their day. Well, it's my fault because I keep going to ballroom every day. You know what I'm saying?
Or maybe just that ballroom.
Or maybe just that. You're right. Maybe it's just that ballroom. But I mean, if I'm continuing to put myself in a situation that's not productive, that then becomes, it is my fault. And changing the narrative of we talked about, we're going to hit family, friends, and we're kind of hitting it all together, and that's cool. But we have to take more accountability for ourselves. And I know I like to dodge the bullet all the time. What are you talking about? It's not me, it's them. It's their fault. It took me this long because they didn't allow me to. I was waiting on them to help me with this. I didn't cut my grass because they didn't bring this. I didn't wash the car because I thought they were going to come do this. And I'm giving these little things so you can see how the big things grow, or how they do, start stacking up on each other and become something that is just so, in your mind, insurmountable. But at some point, how do you eat the elephant? One bite at a time. Mm-hmm. So whether if it's you gained 5 pounds and then it turned into 20, and you're like, oh gosh, you have to lose 1 pound at a time. That's the way you gained it.
Yeah.
You gained it 1 pound at a time, so you gotta lose it 1 pound at a time. I had to come to that realization, my god doggone self. So y'all do too. You know what I'm saying? No matter what it is, and even with my business, I'm redoing some stuff, and I have some stuff that's going on. And I'm like, I was lagging. I need to make sure if I want to reach this level, and if I want to do this, that, and the other, I need to take these steps, and I need to, pull myself up by the bootstraps. And it's very difficult to, to own that yourself. But when you do, there's a lot of power in it.
I'll say one thing. Part of it is, and this is one other thing I appreciate my father so much for. We're actually coming up on the 6-year anniversary of his passing. But it was the words "can't" and "hard" weren't allowed in my house.
Ooh, I like
By
that.
not allowing the word "hard," when you hear "hard" or "difficult," it makes people think it's challenging and they don't want to overcome it. So it gives them a reason to not try, because difficult can be that excuse that we can lay on to not do it. But if you remove that word from your vocabulary and just say, well, it may take time, but nothing, it takes 21 days to make or break a habit. That's it.
21.
Just 3 weeks, not even a whole month. Science has proven 21 days will make or break a habit.
So if I want to change a narrative, I can do it in 21 days.
Yeah.
What narrative are we going to change?
Well, I'm on the right path. I changed my narrative. I changed my narrative about a year ago. So I won't keep headed on the direction I'm headed.
I have a couple I want to change.
You know, I got maybe one. I know I'm working on one, but for the most part, it's I changed the internal dialogue I was telling myself.
Ding! Thank you. You hit exactly where I wanted to go with this conversation. You changed the internal dialogue. That is so much easier said than done. So I'm going to ask you, what made you do it and how did you do it?
What made me do it? Okay. What made me do it was some research I was doing 8 years ago or so. I wanted to learn more about spirituality and things like that. And I came upon the premise of focused thoughts manifest. And then when reading, you know, a first translation of the good book, it said in the beginning, God was thought and thought was God. And that changed my perspective, because if words precede thoughts, it made me realize that every thought is like a prayer. And because if you're focusing your thoughts and then you have belief in it, then that's what's going to manifest. So if you, so what you're thinking is almost like praying for it. And how that old saying is, you know, be careful what you pray for, you just might get it.
Exactly.
Well, if you're always thinking of something negative or the negative outcome, you're going to attract that into manifesting into your reality. It's no good seed could bear a bad fruit and no bad seed could bear a good fruit. So if you think of your thoughts as seeds, every negative thought you put out into the universe or put internally into yourself, you can only manifest something negative from it. You can't get grapes from a mustard seed. It's just not going to happen.
You can't get it. Oh.
You can't. It just won't work. But if you put the positive in you and you keep planting seeds of positivity, whatever that may be, or I'm going to be great. I know when I wake up every morning, I always say, today's a great day. And also the word not. What I realized during my research is, if we talk about what we don't want, the word not or don't is even with don't, it's do not.
It doesn't
but
recognize
not doesn't
it.
really exist in the universe. So even though you're saying
but you know
not,
what? We have to take a quick break because it's that time. But I want to go into that conversation because I think we do not. See, I can't even do it. I can't even do it myself. I don't know how to say it,
it's
y'all.
a different conversation.
It is a different conversation. It's about to be a different conversation when we come back from the break because not doesn't exist. So if we begin to really, we're gonna talk about it when we get back. It's gumbo talk, y'all. We about to get in the stew. It's Terry, Pierre, and Eileen. Stop saying not. I'm gonna try to check myself. No more not. It's a good life. I'll be right back.
I have people not. I don't want it to go like this, and then it ends up going exactly how, because you believe this.
I don't know which headset is on. Huh?
I have people who always say, well, I don't want it to go like this, or I'm not worried about this. Yeah. Well, if it wasn't on your mind, you wouldn't have said it.
Right. I know. It's just like focusing your thoughts.
Focusing your thoughts. Like people say, P, how you say going? No complaints. I always say no complaints every day.
No complaints.
For 2 reasons. One, I ain't never seen a complaint solve nothing.
Right.
Complaints don't solve things. Solutions do.
And I know I'm not perfect because I'm sure I do complain at some point. But you have those. I think I don't want to say it's human.
Why are you not perfect?
Why am I not perfect?
Mm-hmm. What's perfection? What's perfection?
God.
Okay.
Oh, I thought that was me ringing.
Well, why are we not perfect? Says who?
I don't know. Tell me why you said that.
Because to me, perfection is one's ability to self-sustain. I believe divine intelligence, God, the universe, I sum them all up into one. is perfect. Perfection can only be God perfection. Because we don't believe we're perfect, it makes things go crazy. But what perfect really is the ability to learn, grow, and adapt and be self-sufficient. That's all perfection really is.
I like that.
So if I could learn from the mistake I made yesterday and do better today,
then that is perfection.
then that is perfection.
Time out. We're going to say that when you get back. You think you can repeat? I'm going to even say it.
I got it in the poem.
Great.
It's a big line of mine. People are like, well, life is perfect. They say, well, I give an example. Well, what if a 5-year-old baby get hit by a car? You know how people do it.
Yeah.
I said, okay, what if that 5-year-old baby was going to grow up to be the next Unabomber? Then what? What if that life was sacrificed to save 100? See, we don't know. So we'll get confused thinking that it's a mistake or it's not what we're supposed to be. But if it's perfection, and I'm that's a terrible example.
No, but real talk.
It's real talk. If you once I started viewing life as meant to be exactly how it's supposed to be and done by divine order, everything started getting better.
I love that. Brian Wilford said, "What's up?" I was trying to.
B, what's going on? B, what's going on,
Rich
man?
Odom said, "What's up, too?" Rich Odom.
Yes, that's Rich Odom out of Pensacola.
Hi, Rich.
Rich, my man. I gotta let him hear some of my poetry one day.
We'll have to do poetry there one day.
I know him by heart. It's easy. We just performed Saturday.
I love when people can open my mind. I'm trying to hold my comments when we go back on air. I love when my mind is open. That's what happens when you talk to conscious people. Praise the Lord. It's hard to find. We're going to keep him around.
Every now and then I mess up and get it right. Oh, I ain't say that out for though. Damn, I might have lost the bet. I was never say that. I lost the bet. I wasn't never supposed to say that again.
What? Oh, with somebody else?
Yeah, I mess up every now and
then.
And
it's recorded.
No.
Oh,
I didn't
I'm
say it loud enough for it
telling.
to hear.
Yes.
I'm not telling you who I made the bet with, so.
I'm gonna.
I'm not telling.
I'm not gonna put you on Front Street. You said it though. I have it recorded if you need the information. Damn. Just saying. I got you.
It slipped. I used to be always recorded by
it could be for a small fee. I can give you this video. Just saying.
All it takes is a Facebook login.
Right.
I like and share button.
Like and share. Look, subscribe to YouTube. We even. Speaking of it, Pierre and I have teamed up. We are growing. Impact is working with The Good Life, and I'm really excited about it. He's going to be a regular on this show, and we have so many things in store. But I will say I have been diligently working on, growing different aspects of the show. So we're going to be starting live on YouTube as of next week. So I'm excited about that. So if you would take the time and go subscribe to the channel, we would love it. There are more. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. Did y'all know that?
Is Terry still with us? Terry still with us? Terry still with us?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome back to The Good Life with me, Eileen. We are here on Gumbo Talk Thursday, and we're here to open your mind. We are living the good life right here on WBOK 1230 AM. We are opening minds, living differently in the world with love, compassion, tolerance, and understanding for ourselves and everyone else. We do that right here weekdays at 11 a.m. Make sure you stay tuned. We are live on Instagram. We are live on Facebook. We will be live on YouTube, so please go subscribe. If you would like to join the show, you can do that. tglradioshow.com, tglradioshow.com, because it's the good life. If you know someone with a compelling story, please have them email me, or you can email me them. Do that. Eileen, EILEEN at tglradioshow.com. I have none other than Terry. She's on the line, and I have our special guest, our new partner in crime, Pierre. And y'all have to watch during the breaks. We have so much conversation with the breaks. I love talking to conscious people. So right before we were going to the break, we were talking about not using the word not, and I just not used it. But before we get into not using the word not, because we do not want to do that, right? Right. when we were in break, I was talking about, I was like, I'm not perfect. And he said, well, how do you know that you're not? And I was like, wait, I kind of like this thought process. So break down to me what you were talking about being about perfection during the break. And I was like, wait, Pierre, you got to say that for everybody else. I love when someone can open my mind. I absolutely love it. I love reading books and all this other stuff, but I love when you have conversation and somebody makes you go, huh? And they can make you look at something from an entirely different perspective. And Pierre did that for me this morning, and I wanted to do it for you. So Pierre, open their mind.
Sure.
About perfection.
Sure. The idea that things
because I was like,
perfect.
Pierre, I'm not perfect.
Yeah, I said, why not? I think I am. And the reason why I say that is, if I can make a mistake, learn from it, and get better, then that's perfect. Because that means that I can change or I can grow. If you look at the trees are perfect. Why? People think, they got to have sunlight to grow. But trees grow at night. Plants, they store up energy during the sun, but they grow during the darkest times. So if going through some of our biggest challenges, our darkest times, or will help mold us or define us or help us grow and become better, and the fact that we have that opportunity to do it means that it's perfect. It's still a journey, but let's say if you were going from here to California, for example, you might have to go through the mountains, you might have to go through the rain, you might have to go through a flat tire, but does that mean that that's still not the shortest route to get you there? So it's all in. They say faith without works is dead. So you put it out there, you believe, and you move forward, but the perfection of it is, life is about perfection, perfecting itself. So that's the ability to assess something, learn from it, become better, and grow. And then if I don't grow from it, like we were saying earlier, it comes back, and we experience it again in a stronger way. So that shows you, no matter what, the divine universe, God, whatever you choose to put on it, is going to make sure you perfect yourself and grow. And is going to keep sending things your way that get more stringent and more stringent until you learn what you are meant to learn. So that means the universe is set up perfectly for your growth and development. Once we tune into it, we notice it faster, and then the lessons become a little bit easier.
So now when y'all hear me say I'm perfect, you know why? Because I am perfect. I love when someone can open my mind to living differently in the world. And what has this lesson taught us? We've had a conversation about being perfect and about perfection and about growth and change and opening your mind. But let's think of the larger picture that just happened right now. I had a thought process. Pierre had another idea that wasn't exactly like mine. I sat down and I listened to Pierre. I said, Pierre, you have some valid points. I like the way you think. I may, now open my mind, have a different perspective, and take some of that and combine it with my thought process. I may not take all of it, or I may take all of it. It just depends on how it fell in my spirit. I could take it all.
Absolutely.
I can't say that it's mine now because you said it on air, so now everybody knows.
Well, it's not mine either.
Right, it's not yours either.
I plagiarized,
but the point is, we can listen to other people and we can open our mind to living differently in the world. It's possible, but we have to listen.
Yeah.
We have to listen to other people. And to change the narrative in any aspect of life, we have to listen. We have to communicate. This world is about connection. Whether you believe it or not, we're all connected. And the more that we can show love and compassion and tolerance and understanding for ourselves and others, we can live a good life. And so with that, I'm going to start by, it's crazy that you said that about that knot, because after Katrina, when I did The Secret, or when I read the book, when I read the book, did the movie and all that, it came to me in 3. So I was like, obviously I need to be watching this. So that's how I truly had confirmation on it. But that's where I initially had that seed planted in me about the not conversation, about how, the world, the universe, God, the spirit, whatever you want to call it, doesn't recognize the word not. So when you're saying stuff each and every day, you're really saying you're wondering why you're getting what you don't want, but it's because that's what you're asking for. And just like you were speaking about with prayer and thought. So you want to explain the not saying not, and I'm going to I'm,
Sure.
I throw out this to each and every one of you out there who are listening today and who are watching, who will watch or hear the rebroadcast, to check yourself on every, and not like check yourself, but just be aware of every time you do say not. And don't get upset when you say it or check yourself, but just be aware that you say it. Because I just checked myself like 5 times before we even went into break, Pierre.
I mean, I'll use a prime example. I've heard a lot of times people say, "Oh well, I don't have an ego," but then, soon as the chance shows, the ego shows itself, and is that a way to mask, or I don't this or I don't that? But you're not saying what you do. It's no different than someone saying, "Well, here's all the problems," but if you don't have any of the solutions, if you're not a part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So it boils down to that, oh, well, I'm not this or I'm not that. But is it that you don't want to be? And subconsciously you realize that you may not realize that you are. And that could be a huge thing.
How do we swallow that?
I mean, I've seen people, I'm not this, I'm not that. Then as soon as you get the first chance, they go out and do the opposite.
They do that, right.
But actions speak louder than words. I said my dad gave me some great quotes. I always steal them. But he was like, if the motion picture industry, and now it's 30 frames a second, it's 30 images in 1 second rotating is what it shows live action.
Right.
So then 1 second of action is worth 30 pictures or 30,000 words. So your words can never move faster than the actions you're putting out there. You can't say 30,000 words in 1 second. So if you take your actions, you feel me? You got about 6 hours. You know what I mean? That's how it works. But if you put everything into action towards the positive and being what you want to be, or as Gandhi said, being the change you want to see in the world.
Yeah.
I love that quote, and it's so true. It's when I read the 8 laws of social change. It touched on that point so much. And people, I would say we think it's harder than what it really is. But when you're doing something positive and you're doing something for the betterment or the service of others, for every step you take, the divine God, if you want to say Allah, whatever your religion is, your God will take 10 for you. But you got to take step 1.
You got to take
and
step
after
1.
it takes 10, you got to take step 2 so it could take another 10.
Right.
So the journey is there, but the hardest step to take is the first. And a lot of times people will quit because they're looking at how far they've walked. Man, I done did a 10-mile walk. He was only a half a mile from the finish line.
Right.
You know what I mean? As A.L. Williams said, most people will do 99% of what it takes to get to their goals. Those that make it do the remaining 1%. It is that small could be the difference.
That small could be the difference. Terry, your thoughts?
Oh, man, it's deep. I tell you.
That's why I have him here, But it goes back to who you surround yourself with.
It does. The key factor is that you have to stay around the positive to stay positive.
Yes, ma'am.
Clearly.
And that sometimes is the most complicated thing to do in this world today. So how do you make sure you stay with the positive? You just constantly eliminate anything that's negative or the knots in your life?
Yes.
Yeah. I will gladly walk away in the middle of a conversation and be like, you know what? Or the next time I get a call from someone that I know when I'm around them, they don't have anything positive to say.
Right.
I don't. If I answer, I'm busy. All because for my peace of mind, it's priceless to me.
Yeah.
And I've been in situations where even something as me and my buddy going to the store. We're in a car. One car swerves. Man, what he doing? Why he driving like that? Well, why are you focused on what you can't control and only the negative? You're not saying anything about the guy that's driving right on the road. You just saying something about the what. So if you but then it boils to what we're taught or what we grew up in our home. Because, I've had people that I've been around, friends, family, where sometimes all the kids have seen is those around them pointing out the negative. So then they don't know anything, and they don't know any better, should I say?
You know what? I want to take these last 3 minutes to talk about exactly what you said, because there's so many of us, so many listening, it's about half and half, who, maybe more, who did grow up in a family or a situation or have just been surrounded by negative people and are inundated with it. But I am here to tell you today, just like the Gandhi quote, be the change you want to see in the world. If you begin today and change yourself, the people surrounding you will change. Your children will change. And then because of their changes, they will change someone else. So do you want to keep repeating the same cycle? Do you want to perpetuate the negativity? If you want to change the narrative, do it today by getting the negativity out of your life. Yeah. Recognize it.
Change the next generation, because if you
yes.
change, that next generation will change.
It's so funny. I said this once. Someone got mad at me. I was talking to an elder, and he said, "Man, the youth these days are so messed up." And I said, "Well, your generation is the one that raised us, so you can't talk bad on this generation if we're a product of what you created or your generation." And every generation, the younger generation, is always viewed as quote unquote crazy or wild. You know, my generation was called that. Now they're saying it about the generation after, just because they come in with something different. But if you look at it, I mean, in the 1800s or in the 1500s or in the, 1,000 years ago, the elders thought the world was flat. The youth came with us round.
Exactly.
So it's all about progression, and if both generations can work together, because I do believe the generation before us does have great knowledge to share. It's how do we incorporate that with the youth that have their own ideas? Because if those two can come together and have a good passing of the knowledge, the next generation will be so much, I think, adequately prepared to spearhead us for the next 300 years.
Absolutely.
Pierre, you have no idea what you said. I'm glad we're at the end of the show, because I know we were going to have some callers soon, because that speaks to a lot of the conversation that we have, here in this, I don't want to say just this audience, but, in some of our listeners. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it is the truth. And it's recognizing our reality. We can keep pointing fingers at what was, but it is what it is. Recognize the reality and say, what am I going to do now? Am I going to be solution-based? You can complain all you want. We can call up this station and you can complain all you want, but unless you call with a solution, nothing is going to change. And the only thing you are doing is riling up more people to spear some more negativity and to share fear, anger, and animosity. I'm not trying to be funny, but it's kind of like a mini 45. You're doing the same thing he did on a smaller scale. So until you're going to create some more solutions, calling to complain and spear fear and anxiety, I mean, we could really live without it.
And then for those that
just saying.
And for those that do want to bring the truth to the light,
please,
they have to be prepared for what's going to come. The truth goes through 3 phases. First is denied, then it's violently oppressed, and then it's accepted as self-evident.
Right.
So you have to know that in order to bring out change, there's some destruction that's going to be involved. You have to destroy a mindset to rebuild it. You can't build a new building if the old one is still standing there. So you have to be willing to face what the oppression or the outrage people are going to have because of that change. But it's all about seeing in the long run that it's worth it. It's not about step one. It's about the journey.
And can y'all see where what he just said is so evident to what our community is going through right now?
Right.
So say step one. Tell us the steps.
It's first is denied, then it's violently oppressed.
So
opposed,
it's denied.
Denied, violently opposed.
Right now.
Then it's accepted as self-evident.
And then it's accepted as self-evident. So we're in 1 and 2 right now.
Yeah.
Clearly. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. We need to open our mind to living differently in the world. We need to continue to have these conversations. I am so excited and blessed. Thank you, Terry, for being with us today. We appreciate you. And I just want to thank you, Pierre. You're raising the level of conversation, and it's so nice to hear a conscious man. I'm so excited. Y'all, now y'all see why he's here. Now y'all see why he's here. And we talk about the people that we surround ourselves with. Now you see why we are partnering up with the Impact Group. And if you want to reach out to him, how can they do that, Pierre? 504-323-7981 or Impact Group. That's E as in Edward, M as in Mary, P as in Peter, A as in Apple, Q as in Quincy, GRP on all social media or at gmail.com for email. Thanks so much. And TGL Radio Show, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, website. If you want to join, that's where you need to be. TGLradioshow.com. This is Eileen, y'all, and I'm out.
Got it. All right, the view on number 4.
Good Life Radio Show is a proud WBOK blog programmer. To advertise with the Good Life Radio Show, call 504-400-7127, 504-400-7127.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Open your mind and grow.
No, yeah. He's
choice.
bringing us, yes, exactly.
504-400-7127.
I'm so with you. God gives us what we want, because sometimes he's like, I'm gonna use that to bring about my change.
Yeah.
So, I made it 3 points. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I appreciate each and every one of you. Great show. Thank you so much. That's Pierre. We have a nice little duo today on Gumbo Talk Thursday. Thanks so much for tuning in, y'all. If you like the show, please share. It will be uploaded to YouTube a little bit later today. I promise I'm going to do it. So you can share it there as well, and you can follow us on Facebook. All of our live shows are there as well. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow. In the video and save it so I can upload it later. And of course, Facebook. Thanks so much for tuning in. Good morning. Yes, Pierre's a plus factor to your pro. Yes, we love him. I told you I was looking for some conscious conversation. I'm not just throwing anybody on here anymore. We are redoing, we are revamping. If you want to be on here having a conversation with me, you need to be conscious, because I just can't have these energy vampires anymore. I'm serious. They have sucked the life out of me. Let me not have this conversation on there. Thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. Never wonder. You check the people around you, because you may have to get the broom and sweep the corners. Bye.